everybody. I'm Georgeryals at Archery Learning Center with a brand new thing a week. But before I start the thing a week, I'm going to tell you this in every episode. You can get lessons from me at improvemyarchery.com. You can have remote lessons or in-person lessons at my shop in Snellville, Georgia. If you belong to a club, you can also get me to come to your club on a full weekend, and I'll do a full archery workshop for you. If you're interested in bringing me into your club, send me a message. We can work out a date, and I'll let you know all the details about how to do that. So today, I'm going to talk about finding the right draw length. Almost every lesson that I do with a person that's never had a class with me before, I'm getting a lot of new people who have never really had any kind of coaching or lessons at all before. So almost every lesson, I end up adjusting somebody's draw length. And it makes a world of difference when the draw length is correct. So I'm going to show you how I look at it, how I figure it out. Even if you're a remote lesson with me, I can figure out your draw length. I'm going to kind of show you how I do that. So, I'll just go through what the effects are with a long draw length and a short draw length, and how to walk yourself into it so that you know it's right when you get there. So I've got my bow set up here, and let me put an arrow in it so I don't. And then I'm gonna pull this back and just kind of look at how the string fits my face and the peep lines up and all of that, and just take a look, right? And I'll settle, put the pin on the target, and then look through the peep. Now looking at that, it looks like the draw length is pretty dang good, right? It even looks pretty steady on the target. But the one thing that you can't see is the tension or compression in my shoulders here, right? And you can't see the speed of my pin. So let me show you something. If someone tells me that it feels like their bow is buzzy, or the pin moves very quickly and then it jumps, sometimes you get the feeling that it jumps off target just in time for the release aid to fire. That's a signal that your draw length is short. So here's how I check a draw length. Because most people, when they pull their bow back, they pull back and go straight to anchor. So it's kind of hard to tell, especially if you've been shooting, like if you're in your 20s, and you've been shooting since you were a young teenager, you can actually grow out of your bow and not even know, because you shoot it all the time. And I've seen it happen a lot. So watch this. What I'll do is turn my head away from the target and draw the bow. That'll take me out of that archery context so that I can settle my shoulders. Watch this. So I'll pick the bow up and pull back sideways, right, like this. So I'm not addressing the bow or anything, and then I'll relax and reach into the bow, and then turn my head. Now, how does my draw length look now? And that's the same bow. I haven't changed anything, so it was one take. That's where the draw length is now. So if I pull the bow back and compress, then I can see. Later, if I shot this bow a lot, I'd have a little shoulder pain, a little pain up the back of my neck. Maybe the top of my shoulder would hurt a little bit from holding the bow in a slightly compressed state. So by drawing the bow sideways and settling and opening myself up and getting full extension so the bow can aim steady, I can then see whether if the draw length fits or not. So I need to move my draw length about 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in front of you so that you can see how to change the draw length. You may not know how to do that. So I'm going to take the bow. Oops. Just pop the bars off. Lay those right there just to make it easy to manage. All right. So I got the bars off. Screws up, 15, Torx wrench, and the draw length adjustments are right here on a Hoyt Stratos with HBT camps. The draw length adjustments are right here. So all I need to do is loosen this screw, and then I need to take this one all the way out. Hoyt engineers, I would love it. All archery engineers, if you're making cams, take a second and consider where the cables and the limbs are, and don't put those screws behind the limb. Pro shops will love you if you just redesign that just a little bit better so the screws are not concealed by something and we can easily change the draw length. So let's see, here we go. I got to take this screw all the way out. And the Stratos is a it has 1/4 inch draw length adjustments. So the way Hoyt does it is you have can you see right there, Jonathan, that little, you see it's in the B setting right now, and then it has lowercase a and then uppercase A. So uppercase A is a 1/2 inch adjustment, right, instead of a 1/4. So I'm just going to move that right into A, and then I'm going to line this up. I got to hold that string out of the way in order to get the screw in place. And we'll tighten that down nice and snug. And then I'll go back over here and snug that one up. So we'll spin the bow around and do it on, actually I'm going to do it the same way. I'll just loosen this one up all the way. It's super handy that they have these rotating modules so that you can quickly change a draw length. Oops. I'm going to slide that around to uppercase A and then put that back in there. Snug that down. And then get over here on this one and snug that one down. Okay. So draw length has been changed, a 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to put my bars back on. Now another note, when you're evaluating draw length, you use your sight movement to decide whether if you have the right draw length or not. And the smaller it is and the softer the float, the better you are. If your draw length is too long, it tends to float large and it's always moving. It's predictable, but it's always moving, and it moves on a larger space of the target. If your draw length is short, it occupies a very small space on the target, but it's very jerky. Every little muscle movement, so it'll give you the feeling that your release age the dot jumps off the middle just in time for you to release to fire. So you're looking for that happy medium in the middle. So in order to see that, if you take your weights off of your bars and shoot just the bars without any weight on them at all, you can see that uncorrected movement, and you can make more accurate decisions as to whether if you're doing the correct draw length or not. So these new Hamskea weights, they just screw off. So it is super handy to be able to just take those off and set them down and do your testing. And then I got to pick my arrow up and do your testing, and then you just pop them right back on without any problems. A lot of the standard weights out there, they get stuck together and they're hard to unscrew, and people struggle with that all the time. But so those Hamskea weights are excellent. So let's check the draw length again. All right, I'm going to turn my head towards you, and I'm going to settle in, and then turn my head to the target, and then just move the peep right in front of my face. And you see how that just meets right up with my nose, and everything works, right? Just like that. I don't have to move my head or anything to come to anchor. And without weight, I'll be able to shoot several games with it and decide, is this working for me or not? And then when I add my weight back on, that's like adding a little extra gravy onto it. The forgiveness part comes in when you add the weight back on. So getting the draw length is important. And always remember, if something hurts when you're shooting your bow, if you don't have an injury that happened somewhere else, and something hurts when you're shooting your bow, that's a signal that your bow may not fit. So always be aware, if you shot a lot and you walk away with a little pain or some soreness, the draw length may not be correct. So there it is. That's a really quick, easy method to figure out whether if your draw length fits or not. So I'll see you next week for another thing a week.